Good morning. My name is Scott, and today I'm going to show you how to change the battery in a car. You'll need a few rather simple tools. I have a small pair of vice grips here, a screwdriver, some wrenches, and a socket set. These should be all the tools that I need to do this job, and it's going to be a little rough because the battery's pretty old. It's from 2008, and it is now March of 2013, and as you can see, we got some corrosion to deal with. Hopefully everything will come away free and clear, and I'll just drop the new battery in and get the car running again. I'm going to get to work here. Yes, I am playing with the battery to answer your earlier question. Well, not playing necessarily. This is the old battery right here. Yes, I haven't changed. I put the new battery in. You can see all the corrosion and stuff here. So go ahead and hold this. There we go. That whole thing might have been recorded already. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out the size of the socket. I'm just going to use my little vice grip here to help me gauge the size. So you can see that fits on there pretty nicely. You see that's just about the right size. Now let's come over here to the sockets, and I'm thinking that it's probably not metric, but it could be. So I'm going to take a look here, and I'm not seeing a close match in either of those two options. Really, come nice and close when I do this sort of thing, Ethan. There you go. So I'm not seeing a good option there. Let's go over here and look at the metric ones, and that one that looks about right. I'm just going to go ahead and see if that slips on there. Nope, it's not that one. Maybe it's the one next to it. Let's see. And there we go. That one fits very nicely, and we'll go ahead and we'll use that one. So I'm going to remove the negative battery cable first, and so the negative one is the one that has black on it. The red one is positive. So you always want to remove the negative one first. Do you know why, Ethan?
Why?
Oh goodness, I don't have an extension for that particular size now, do I? What?
Videos.
Alright, I don't have a nut driver handy, so I'm improvising, and I'm going to use just a little, just arranging things like this with the vice grip on the driver part. And you can see that's working. So did I explain why you removed the negative cable first? Did I explain that?
No.
Alright, well this battery is completely dead, but it's always good to follow proper procedure even when you know the bad thing that could possibly happen can't possibly happen. Because you know when bad things happen?
What?
Is when you least expect them. So when you least expect it, and you can do that by following proper procedure. Now, what can happen is when you remove the red cable first, you can get a nice big spark, and we don't really want a spark. See, now that's loose and that comes off. All right. If you take the negative cable off first, you severely reduce the potential for a bad spark to happen. And there we go. That came off. That loosened very easily. Are you on the red one now?
Yeah.
And I think that's gonna come right up. There we go. There's a little bit of corrosion there. All right, so I've got the two power cables removed. Now all I have to do is remove this part and this part.
Wait, which other part?
Well, this is the bracket that holds the battery to the car.
Okay.
Right. All right. So we've removed the power and the cables. So now I'm just going to use this 10 millimeter wrench that I happen to have laying about. One of my few metric wrenches, and but you think I'd have more because I used to work a lot on metric cars. I don't know where they all are. And I'm just going to go ahead and just remove this bracket very slowly, and it's going to take me until I can get up over the hurdle here. Are we rolling? Good.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to use a little bit of oil. I'm going to put a little oil on this fellow here. All right, and probably shouldn't use that as a cutting edge here. There we go. And I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on this just to help speed things along. And a little penetrating oil over here to. When you have a nice long bolt like that, one of the things that you might want to do is add a little oil to it to hopefully make it hand loosenable. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Oh yeah, that's much easier now. It was going to truly take a very long time to get this thing off. Now I can just use this and go all the way around. And
Uh-oh.
I don't need that anymore anyway. And now there we go. Now come around here. Come around to my left side here.
Yeah, sure.
Come around to my left side. We didn't actually have to go all the way up, as I just discovered, because there's a hook down in the bottom that hooks into the bottom part of the bracket on the car to hold the battery in there. That came out. So that should be enough, hopefully, to get the whole thing off. It is. And now the whole entire battery will lift right out.
Wow.
And you want to be very careful not to let not let this piece of metal fall across both poles, because you can get a nice big spark if you do that too. And there you go. Probably should have worn gloves doing that. Go ahead, stop. Cut. All right, so we have here the new battery, and I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure that I have the battery terminals oriented properly. As you can see, here's the positive one and here's the negative one. They have these little dust caps on here. You'll want to remove those before you place the terminals onto the terminals, or the connectors, whatever they're called. And here we go. I'm just going to drop this down in there carefully and get that seat in there. And I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. So getting all this, pull that up, and this battery's a little taller than the last battery, so I'm going to go ahead and hopefully hand loosen that. Nope, where's my wrench? Oh, it's in your pocket. It's in the cameraman's pocket. Alright, let's go ahead and sometimes you can get a little extra advantage just by rotating the flipping the wrench over. And it's a little cold out here. I don't usually drop tools, but I do sometimes. I once dropped a tool. Actually, I once dropped one of those little tiny screwdriver bits on the inside of a C-130 up in the front end of the landing gear.
What's a C-130?
A C-130 is a cargo plane that I worked on in the Air Force. And I dropped that little bit, and what they do when you drop a tool on an airplane is they ground the airplane. The airplane cannot take off until the little bit is found.
Daddy.
No, this is true. This is true, because they don't want that little bit to come loose in flight. And like, say, what if I had dropped like a wrench, like this,
Yeah.
up by the engine,
Okay.
and then it got
Right.
sucked into the engine.
Yeah.
So every tool has to be accounted for, and that's not a bad idea when you're working on cars and stuff. Is to make sure that you have a toolbox that has spaces in it, so that you can see if you have any empty slots when you finish working on your car. Then you'll know that you left something in your car, right? Doesn't that make sense?
Mhm.
Screw that a little bit and hopefully get this thing on here. Just a little bit further. Oh, there we go. Good. And this should be tightened securely, because what don't you want to have happen when you're driving your car down the road?
Not want it to get loose.
Right. You don't want the battery to come loose. It's kind of a heavy, big piece of stuff that could potentially come loose and cause all kinds of trouble for you. Let me finger tighten this right now. I'm gonna make certain that all the pieces are secure. This one's crooked, actually. As I look down here, I see that it's crooked. Nope, can't get in there like that. Come at it at an angle. Come in a little closer on this action. This is pretty exciting action right here. The camera could come in a little closer here. The camera could come in a little bit closer here.
Sorry.
So sometimes when we're filming like this, so the whole thing was actually this is back off a little bit. So the entire battery, the entire bottom plate of this thing is loose. And I'm not sure that that's supposed to be like that, but I don't care. I'm gonna get this on here pretty tight.
Maybe that's not hooked.
It's not hooked. It's not hooked. I think that this is a big problem. This is a big problem. Actually, I do care. I'm gonna take this whole. This is what we live for when we're doing these kinds of videos. Is there's a problem? Something seems to be broken down inside here. I don't feel like. Well, what do you know? So I wasn't. Oh, I see. I think I. Yeah, I see. I wasn't actually hooked into the right part. I was hooking onto this plastic piece. Okay, so that's good. Now, you're not videoing. You're not filming this. What are you doing? You're like over here, and the action's over here. Your fingers covering the lens.
Sorry.
My goodness, your sister's a better cameraman than you are. And she's 5.
A girl.
She's 5.
She's a camera woman.
You're 11. She's 5. All right. So let's get back on track here. Okay. So now that I know how this goes, I know there's a little hole down in here for the hook to go into. The last thing that you want to do is hook this firmly and securely to a plate that's loose. Watch this, not this. Watch with your eyes here, not with these eyes here. All right, last thing we want to do is hook to this unsecure thing. All right, I'm gonna put this back in, and in we go. We're not attaching those yet. And we're gonna underneath here. I want to make sure that we avoid going over any cables, right?
Yep.
And we gotta find that hole, and we gotta hook into it. We gotta find the right hole. And we'll get hooked right into. There we go. I got that one. And let's see if I can find this one. Just make sure that we get right in there. This is the tricky part, people. You can't even see what I'm doing. It's so tricky. Those are always the trickiest parts. I'm just feeling this with my finger. There we go. I can feel it's in there. Now it's in there. And I'm going to hold my finger on it to make sure that it stays in the hole while I screw. Or tighten.
Or whatever you call it.
Tighten.
Yeah.
I'm not screwing. I'm tightening. All right.
Screw when you put it. Never mind. Is it tight? And
This one is, yeah. That one. Oh wait, no. Good question. All right.
Okay.
All right. Why don't you get the camera in on this action here? Look at this. I can't. This doesn't fit this way, so I'm just gonna do it this way, and I want to keep my finger on it. So I'm just gonna. Oh, this one's a little corroded. It's hard to get that on there. Oh my goodness. There we go. I got some nice tightening action there. And look at it go. Look at it go. And there we go. That's the rhythm I want. Look at it go. Look at it go. Look at that, Ethan. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? That's talent. That's how we do it. That's how we roll. And it's that particular movement that you saw there comes with years and years of practice. And it helps to have a slightly corroded nut when you do it. All right, I don't want to over tighten these. These are pretty small, and sometimes I don't know my own strength, and I can strip these things pretty easily. So I'm just going to do the same thing over here now. I don't know why they put this weird little handle thing on here. I guess it made it a little easier to drop it in, and I think that's good enough. It feels tight. Probably if you were doing a yeah, who knows? I know. Alright, so yeah, I don't want to start, when this starts to bend down, that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and pull off the little caps here and set those on the old battery, just to have a place to set those on the old battery, just to have a place to put them. And pull this one off too. There we go. And set that one on there as well. It'd be a good idea to use some sort of brush or something. I'm looking inside here at the inside of the terminals, and they look pretty good. They don't look real corroded, but corrosion does tend to beget corrosion. If you have a copper brush, and when you're at the store buying the battery, it's probably a good idea to buy a copper bristle brush. They make them especially for battery terminals. I'm going to go ahead and... There went my heart. Okay. So,
Oops.
so we know the battery's charged.
Yeah. Okay.
And now what we need to do is, this is a 1998 Subaru Forester. And what we want to do is come around. Is we want to get the key in here. And we're going to actually have to set the alarm off. And I'm going to go ahead and put the key in, and I'm not going to turn it yet. I didn't follow my own rule there. You saw how I did that, right? You met down here. I was too busy talking. And what I really want to do is I want to put the positive one on first and tighten that one down to avoid what? A shock, right? So that was my mistake. And I'm going to go ahead and quickly. So as you heard, the alarm went off. So now what I did is I actually just had to kind of deal with it, right? And I had to hook the battery terminal up, and then come in the car, turn the ignition not all the way on, but turn it part of the way on. And then there's a little switch down here. This switch is not currently mounted. It's just a switch, and you just push that button, and that shuts the alarm off. You may find that button's actually right here. Or maybe in a panel, somewhere. For us, when we bought the car, it was just hanging down here like this. It was tucked up in here like that. It was kind of hidden from view, but it was there. So that's it. That's how you put a battery in a 1998 Subaru Forester. And let's check one final thing. Now that we've got the battery all the way on and tightened, let's go ahead and put our little moisture cover, dust cover back onto the
positive?
Yeah, it's the positive terminal. Let's get all of our tools off of the engine, and just keep your camera on the engine there, and let's see if she starts up. There we go. Success.
Okay.
Thank you.